We are here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Wednesday, January 8th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and you're watching News Generation. Joining us today is Park Ki-un.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. And Ki Kim.
Good morning.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. So we're going to begin with our keyword news for today. Our keyword for this Wednesday is CES 2025. The 2025 Consumer Electronics Show started its 4-day run at the Las Vegas Convention Center on Tuesday local time. Often regarded as the world's most influential tech event, this year's CES has drawn participation from more than 4,500 companies from 160 countries and regions. As for South Korea, 1,031 companies are taking part, surpassing the 1,000 mark for the very first time. And this puts Korea in third place for the number of participating companies, following the United States and China. So, Kyun, for our viewers, could you please give us some background on what CES is and why it's so significant?
Sure, like you just mentioned, CES is one of the largest and most influential tech events in the world, held annually in Las Vegas. It is owned and produced by Consumer Technology Association, or CTA, that showcases cutting-edge innovation and products from various industries, including manufacturers, developers, and consumers of consumer technology hardware, content, technology delivery systems, and more. The CES serves as a platform for companies from startups to global brands to unveil new products, demonstrate emerging technologies, and network with industry professionals, media, and investors. It also features keynote speeches from world's business leaders, and this year's CES kicked off with a speech from NVIDIA's boss, Jensen Huang, unveiling a new system for training robots and self-driving cars at a much lower cost.
Right, no wonder it's called the Tech Extravaganza. Now to you, Ki, what could be some key points of CES 2025?
Yes, I've been to CES a couple of times personally, and it's always a big show. The big tech show out there, technology. And when I was there, they were showing off the smiling cars, facial expressions on the front end of the car with the LED lights, gaming consoles, movie theaters embedded in the car, smart connecting systems for your home appliances and all. So it's not just a small electric gadget anymore. It's more of all the cars, robotics, everything all together, and they're all connected. And of course, right after the COVID, all the companies were focusing on 3 keywords. Those are green, sustainability, and also ESG. But now, this year's keyword is very simple. It's all AI. So their slogan this year's CES is Dive In, and they're trying to tell everyone around the world everything can be fixable by technology, and it can be adjusted by AI. And robotics, mobility, smart home, digital health, beauty tech, you name it, everything will be controlled by AI. For example, Samsung, in their keynote speech, they announced Home AI with the title AI for All, every day, everywhere, providing super customized AI platform. And LG introduced Furon, their very original AI agent, along with a wireless TV. And surprisingly, will.i.am appeared as a guest speaker to tell the world the collaboration that they're doing with the LG's new audio brand. SK is showing off the glass substrate, which would be a game changer for the semiconductor industry. So now every corporate is back on the game, and they're trying to show off their latest tech to the world.
Right, so a lot to look forward to for CES 2025. The event runs until Friday, January 10th local time. And if you want to dive into this year's CES, you can catch the highlights at Arirang, as our business correspondent Boon Hae-ryun is currently covering the event on site. And that was our keyword news for this Wednesday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion of the day. Today is the last of our 3-part series on key issues expected to impact our generation in the new year. And today's topic is about age, as South Korea officially became a super-aged society last month. So Ki, could you start us by explaining or defining what a super-aged society is and what kind of debates this has sparked?
Always pleasure to talk about getting old and super age. Anyway, so according to the Ministry of the Interior and Safety, as of December last year, those age group who are 65-year-old or older has accounted for more than 20% of the whole population of South Korea, and we've officially entered a super-aged society defined by UN. And in Korea, we used to throw a big party for Hwangap, or 60th birthday, to celebrate healthy senior life. 60-year-old was sort of a turning point or a symbolic age in Korea that they have survived healthy. But yet with the improvement in the medical environment, life expectancy has increased, and there's so many seniors who are active and even in their 60s, and the issue of expanding the retirement age or changing our perception on the ages for seniors are naturally rising.
Right. So as Ki mentioned, he talked about how Korea has entered the superagedsdociety last year. And to give you guys a brief more background, in Korea, the legal retirement age is 60 years and older, and that means people can start to get benefits from 60, and companies can force workers to retire at this age. However, many companies keep workers on beyond that age. So I want to ask you, Hyun, what's the general public sentiment on this retirement age debate? And I want to also ask you, is our generation more supportive or against this pushing back the retirement age here in the country?
Right. In terms of our generation, the first reaction to this question will be many people kind of opposing the extension of retirement age. But surprisingly, many of the youngsters were actually supportive of prolonging working life. And according to a survey asked workers from various sectors, 9 out of 10 responded to the need of increasing the standard retirement age. And to give our viewers clearer numbers, let's take a look at the screen. When asked about whether they agree on increasing the retirement age, it was asked to 514 workers working in different sectors. 74% of respondents in their 20s said yes, while 84% of the interviewees in their 30s also said yes. So just by looking at these numbers, young people currently in the workforce are very open and positive about increasing the retirement age and letting, I guess, older people re-enter the labor market.
Right. So as Q mentioned, a majority of young people, those who are part of our generation, are for pushing back the retirement age. So now we're going to dig deeper and find out the reasons why. So I want to ask you, what are the main reasons for pushing back the retirement age?
So the same respondents from the survey supported their answers with a couple of reasons. First was worrying about life after retirement in terms of financial stability. Not all retirees have the luxury to live the rest of their lives just from the pension payment, and so they need to continue to think of ways of making ends meet after retirement. So back in 1981, the Korean government set age 65 as the official senior age. And considering back then the average expected lifespan was 66.7.
Oh.
By contrast, it is currently 84.3 right now, which is 17.6 years higher.
It has risen a lot.
A lot, of course. And so that's why we're seeing more healthy seniors who are much more capable of working up until their 70s. So I think that's one of the big reasons. Another important reason would be the shrinking population experience here in Korea.
Right.
With the biggest, we're going to see a big drop in the number of eligible people in the workforce, recording the lowest birth rate in the world. So there will be a shortage of workers moving forward. So it explains another reason why we need to extend the retirement age to, I guess, keep the economy going. Because if you don't have any workers in the country, there's not much of a future.
It leads to a country's decrease in competitiveness and also productivity. So we've taken a look at some of the reasons for extending the retirement age, but on the other hand, there are also concerns being raised about extending it. Could you please tell us more about that, Ki?
Yes, well, if we extend the retirement age, the productivity or efficiency in labor could be a problem, and job opportunities for younger generation can be reduced, and the budget could be somewhat burdensome for any enterprises to pay seniors as they're very experienced. So according to the Federation of Korean Industries, if we were to extend the retirement age, the amount of money that we put into would be equivalent of hiring 0.9 million youths. To extend the retirement age from current 60 to, let's say, 65, then it'll cost about 30.2 trillion won, or roughly about 21 billion US dollars, and that's a lot of money. So if we are not prepared, it could result in catastrophic disaster.
Right, so both arguments do have solid ground. So we're going to take a look at cases in other countries, as an aging population isn't just an issue unique to Korea. As you know, many countries are grappling with aging populations and also shrinking workforces that Kyu mentioned. Now, while Korea's retirement age is set at 60, some government agencies and companies have begun raising the threshold to 65 in response to the aging labor market. Then how are other countries trying to address these challenges?
So major countries around the world are raising or abolishing retirement age standards in response to trends of aging populations and population decline, like you mentioned, Eugene. So the United States abolished mandatory retirement in 1986, and the United Kingdom followed suit in 2011. And among OECD countries, only a few, such as South Korea and Japan, maintain mandatory retirement ages stipulated by law.
That's very interesting. So they're kind of not limiting the age where people can or cannot work.
As long as they're capable of working.
Right. So this is definitely a big contrast from what we're seeing here in Korea. What could be some other examples, Key?
Well, just like you mentioned, many Western countries such as Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Denmark, Poland don't have the legal retirement age, and it's even illegal for any company to define or have the standard retirement age. But most of them get the pension system, and when citizens reach a certain age that they're receiving the pension, then they start recognizing or acknowledging, oh, okay, it's time to retire. So it's about 67-year-old for Germany and 64 for France, which is a bit higher than how it used to be.
Right.
And so the Asian countries such as Taiwan and Singapore are also extending the retirement age, or they're abolishing it.
Right, so it's sort of becoming a trend to either raise the standard retirement age or some countries abolishing the retirement age. Now, to gather more opinions around the world, we also polled our viewers on whether they believe the retirement age should be adjusted. And here are the results and opinions from our viewers. So this poll was conducted from January 2nd to 6th, and the question was, should the retirement age be extended? Out of 670 votes, 70% of our viewers voted no, it shouldn't be extended, while 30% said yes, it should. So we're now going to take a look at some of the opinions or comments given by our viewers. Our first comment for the day is Park Taehyun 85. I believe that people deserve to enjoy their retirement after so much work. DS91284 says it should be a personal choice optimally, not mandated by anyone else. Ling TH says low birth rate will cause a workforce shortage if the retirement age is not extended unless it is replaced by automation. So we've taken a look at diverse opinions given from our viewers. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Now, after the break, we'll be joined by a professor who is working beyond the retirement age of 60 to share his perspective. Stay tuned.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Welcome back. Today we're joined by Shin Se-don, Professor of Business Economics at Sungmyung Women's University in Seoul. Good morning, Professor Shin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Right. So, Professor, I want to first ask you, do you feel that there is a need to raise the retirement age here in Korea beyond 60?
Of course, of course. You know, as some of the person in the auditorium told us, many Western countries has abolished the system long ago, like in the United States in 1986 and in the United Kingdom 2011. And even Taiwan abolished last year. So many countries, advanced countries, have already abolished. Some of the kind of tenacious, Asian countries like Japan or Singapore maintain the system, but sooner or later there will be, abolishing the system. So in Korea, it is kind of a destined, to at least extend the retirement age from current 60 to probably 65. And then 70 in the future, and eventually it has to be abolished. I don't know, maybe 10 years from now or so. But as I am, in my 70s, it's no problem physically to work, even 50 hours a week, and mentally even stronger than most younger generation. And emotionally, we are eager to work because financially most of the people in 60s or 70s are having difficulties in making their needs meet. So it is, I think, too late for us to talk about this issue in 2025.
Professor, I can still feel your energy and youth through the screen. Like we've already mentioned, you have already surpassed the retirement age and are still actively contributing to your field. So based on your experience, do you believe people can continue to find fulfillment and make meaningful contributions if they choose to work beyond the retirement age?
Well, of course, as I said, most older people, retired person physically are more than fit, to the younger generations, and also technically, and they had possessed a lot of experiences and skills. It is kind of unfortunate for our society to let them, not to work, not to contribute, especially in kind of a situation where we feel shortages of workers because of no marriage, no having kids. So I think it is destined for our economy. There are a lot more place for the older generation to contribute, not just in work with a very low grade, but like professionals like doctors, lawyers, professors, and bureaucrats. I think they have to be allowed to contribute more for the good of the society.
So continuing on the thoughts, I think, Professor, you are a very good, great state of example. And in your insights, what measures should be implemented to ensure the most balanced and beneficiary decision regarding the retirement age?
Well, to me, the society is kind of a negative about extending the retirement age because of two grounds. One ground is, what about the national pension system? Because, pension system is going to be having trouble sooner or later. And if we get the age benefit, the national retirement benefit at the age of 60 or 63, it's going to be too much of a burden to the pension system. So for the good of the pension system, I think it is beneficial for the retirement age to be extended, to 65 or 70 or 75. And that is one issue. And another, I think, issue is that the younger generations are afraid of, losing their job because older people are not getting out of the workforce. And surprisingly, the most polls, as you mentioned, show that, the 30s and 20s, they are more than 75%, kind of positive about the extending the system. So I think there isn't much system. Only problem maybe the companies have to pay more because they have to retain all the generation. But sooner or later they will accept that because there are shortages of a workforce, and the shortages of a skilled workforce is very important for productivity the sake. So I think that the company will be willing to admit extension of the retirement age. And the problem is the government and the Congress are very, very inactive, in implementing the legislation. So sooner or later, I think even the Congress will be joining force in extending the, kind of a retirement age to first the 65 and then 70, and sooner or later to 75, and finally we have to abolish it like the United States and United Kingdom in 2011.
All right, Professor Shin, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So wrapping up, I think it has become somewhat of a trend for countries to, as Professor Shin mentioned, to extend the retirement age or at the very end abolishing it. So wrapping up, what direction do you think South Korea should be taking regarding the retirement age debate? Because as we mentioned earlier, there are both a lot of opinions for and against this.
Right. So initially, like for youngsters, obviously they could feel a little against of increasing the retirement age, but like we saw from surveys, they're very positive and they're willing to accept more older people re-entering the workforce for many good reasons. And I think forcing people out of labor is as bad as forcing people into labor. So for those who are willing to work and who are capable of remaining in the workforce, like the professor said, they will provide a lot of experience and skills and for the youngsters as well. Even though it could be burdensome for the company, I think we should all work together to create a country where every age group is accepted and feels safe and happy to live in a single country, because just abandoning like the seniors, saying that, hey, you're not fit enough to work with us, I think that's going the wrong direction. So learning from like advanced countries like the United States and the United Kingdom, I think South Korea is in the right direction, heading in the right direction.
Right, and right now we're the younger generation, but we'll become seniors someday. So extending the retirement age could benefit us
In
as
the
well.
future, yeah.
In the future, right.
Including Ki as well.
Including Ki as well. Now to you, Ki, what are your thoughts on this?
Thank you. Well, I'm with Ki-hoon. I guess, you know, as a matter of fact, if you ever recall the film called Intern with Robert De Niro, that's a perfect example. You know, we can always create opportunities for everybody.
Right.
It's inevitable that we enter a super age society, because that's just a trend, how the trend is. And then Japan has entered a super age society a long time ago, and then the senior population accounts almost 30%. And what they try to do is they work with the government is working with the private sector. So they're working with this very famous convenience store brand, and they created this senior community center within the convenience store to help them out, and then displaying the merchants or goods that's specific for the seniors. So there's a lot of ways we can cooperate with, and also like Hyun mentioned, we got to learn from the good cases from other countries and try to implement them in Korea in the right way, but slowly. You know, we can't just do it in a couple of days or a couple of years. So you know, we got to learn from them and try to slowly implement them to make the society better.
Right, so making gradual changes for an inclusive society, both for the younger generation and for the senior population as well. And that's all from us today, but Newsden will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Park Ki-hoon.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. And Ki Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. We are
News Generation.